What happens when real violence crashes into the world of scripted wrestling? Yesterday, an independent wrestling show turned into one of the wildest, most shocking incidents I've ever seen, and it's going viral everywhere. But trust me, the story behind this is even crazier than the clips you've seen. So stick around, and before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe for more insane stories like this, because this one, you won't believe how deep it goes. The incident that unfolded at an independent wrestling event yesterday has completely taken over social media. Wrestling fans, MMA fans, even casual viewers, everyone is talking about it. And honestly, this is one of the craziest situations I've seen in the world of independent wrestling in a long time. But before we break it all down, we need to talk about a very important name in this story, Rampage Jackson. If you don't know who Rampage Jackson or Quentin Jackson is, let me give you the quick rundown. Rampage is a former MMA superstar, one of the most recognizable names in mixed martial arts history. He fought in the UFC and several other major organizations across the globe. And this wasn't just any fighter. Rampage Jackson was a world champion, an absolute fan favorite, and a guy who became a crossover personality. He even dipped his toes into the wrestling world during his time with TNA Wrestling, which is now known as Impact Wrestling. So yeah, Rampage isn't a stranger to pro wrestling. Now, you might be wondering, why am I telling you all of this? Because Rampage Jackson isn't the only Jackson in this story. See, Rampage has a son, Roger Jackson, who also tried his hand at MMA. And while he didn't make the same waves his father did in the cage, Roger has recently been finding success in a totally different space, IRL, streaming on the platform Kick. That's right, both Rampage and his son have been building an audience streaming their real lives, interacting with fans, and creating viral content. From what I've seen, their streams have been doing pretty well. Clips have been making the rounds on social media. Their streams pull in decent numbers. But yesterday, Roger decided to take things to a whole new level, and not in a good way. According to reports and the footage we've all seen, Roger attended an independent wrestling event live on his Kick stream. The show was hosted by Knock Pro Wrestling, a Los Angeles-based indie promotion. They're also connected to the WWE NIL program. Basically, they're a legit regional level company, but still very much indie wrestling. And this is where things get wild. Roger didn't just attend the show quietly as a fan. He was streaming the entire time, interacting with his chat, and even talking to some of the wrestlers before the event began. One of those wrestlers? A guy named Psycho Stu. And trust me, this guy ends up being a massive part of the story. Before the show started, Roger and Psycho Stu had a strange interaction backstage. According to reports, and from what we can see in the footage, Stu was trying to involve Roger in a small angle, a little worked spot to entertain the crowd. He even hit Roger with a worked gimmick, basically a fake prop for wrestling, and asked him if he was going to sell it, meaning pretend to be hurt for the sake of the storyline. That's normal in wrestling. Wrestlers often involve celebrities or guests in minor angles for fun. But here's the problem. Roger clearly didn't understand the business. He didn't get that this was all scripted entertainment. What happened next? Well, this is where everything spirals out of control. The show kicks off, and Roger is sitting in the front row, still streaming, still chatting with his audience. In the middle of the tag match, everything seems fine until Roger suddenly storms the ring mid-fight, completely unplanned and full of rage, going straight for Psycho Stu. Roger steps into the ring and then snaps. I'm talking dozens of uninterrupted, real punches, full force, thrown directly at Psycho Stu. This wasn't fake. This wasn't worked. This was a real fight, and Stu had no idea what was coming. Within seconds, Stu is completely knocked out, lying defenseless on the mat, and Roger just keeps going. Over and over again, real shots landing to the head and body, while everyone in the arena is in total shock. And the worst part? Nobody in the ring was urgent enough to stop him. The wrestlers hesitated, security didn't rush in fast enough, and for what felt like an eternity, Roger kept unloading on a guy who had no chance to protect himself. Eventually, people managed to drag Roger out of the ring and out of the building. He was kicked out of the event immediately, but by then, the damage was done. Psycho Stu was out cold, the crowd was stunned, and Roger's actions had just made this one of the most infamous incidents in indie wrestling in years.
I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me and shit. Think I'm always playing and shit. Call me bitch and shit.
Come on, man. We leaving, man. We're walking away, bro. Let's not take it serious. Let's go. Come on, Roger. Let's go.
I don't give a fuck. You guys trying to jump me and shit?
Let's go.
You ain't gonna do shit to me, bro.
Let's go,
you can't do shit to me. You can't.
When I first saw the clip on social media, my immediate thought was, this has to be a spot gone wrong. Maybe the guy didn't know what he was doing. Maybe he thought he was supposed to go a little stiff for realism, and things just escalated. That was my first assumption. But then more information came out, and it changed everything. Wrestling journalist Sean Ross Sapp confirmed that yes, Roger's involvement was planned. The post-match run-in, that was supposed to happen. But the way it went down, that was never in the script. And here's where it gets even darker. When you go back and watch Roger's kick stream leading up to the fight, it becomes crystal clear that this wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't him getting confused about how wrestling works. Roger was openly telling his chat for over an hour what he was about to do. He was sitting front row, streaming, reading messages, and saying on camera that he was planning to hurt Psycho Stu. He even said it wasn't scripted.
It's not gonna be scripted when I get in there. It's not gonna be scripted, guys. They told me to hit him and just leave. Somebody who pull me off of him will leave. I'm gonna hit him as many times as I can. Watch.
So now we know this wasn't an accident. This wasn't confusion. This was premeditated assault, and he bragged about it beforehand. Think about that for a second. Roger literally hyped up his own attack like it was some big reveal, all while sitting in the front row of a live wrestling show, surrounded by fans, security, and wrestlers who had no idea what was coming. And of course, after the chaos, everyone wanted to hear from one person, Rampage Jackson. The MMA legend, the father of Roger himself, was live streaming when the news broke. His reaction caught on camera.
Roger might go to jail. He might get banned off kick too.
Then, Rampage took to social media to release a statement about the entire situation, addressing what his son had done and what comes next for him. And that's where this wild, chaotic story ends. For now, with Rampage Jackson saying, I want to clear up the misinformation about my son Roger. I've been informed that the wrestler Stuart Smith, aka Psycho Stu, is awake and stable. Roger was unexpectedly hit in the side of the head by him. Moments before Smith's match, Roger was told that he could get his payback in the ring. I thought it was a part of the show. It was bad judgment and a work that went wrong. Roger is an MMA fighter, not a pro wrestler, and had no business being involved in an event like this. I don't condone my son's actions at all. He suffered a concussion from sparring only days ago, and had no business doing anything remotely close to physical contact. As a father, I'm deeply concerned with his health and the well-being of Mr. Smith. That being said, I'm very upset that any of this happened, but my main concern now is that Mr. Smith will make a speedy recovery. I apologize on his behalf and to Kick for the situation. To be honest, Rampage's statement feels like a whole lot of nothing. It's almost like he's saying, I don't condone it, while at the same time justifying it with excuses. He keeps repeating, oh, Roger had a concussion. He had no business being there, but he shouldn't have done it. But he had a concussion. It's just circles and more circles. Meanwhile, Not Pro Wrestling hasn't responded yet. Roger himself hasn't said a word. Psycho Stu hasn't commented either, and honestly, he shouldn't have to. From what I know, there's no permanent ban for Roger on Kick yet, but I could be wrong. I'll flash it on screen if that changes. What an absolutely awful situation this is. I hope Stu is doing okay and recovering well. And honestly, Roger Jackson, he needs to face real consequences. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't an accident. This was a straight-up assault, and that cannot be brushed under the rug. Rampage was right about one thing. Roger had no business being inside a wrestling ring. But that has nothing to do with concussions or MMA experience. It's because he showed zero respect for the business and crossed a line that should never be crossed. I'm not blaming Not Pro Wrestling completely. I get that they probably saw an influencer in the crowd and thought it might bring some extra publicity. But the way things were handled in the moment, that was a disaster. The response was way too slow. Roger was on top of Stu, throwing real punches for way too long before anyone even tried to pull him off. As a general rule, untrained influencers, or untrained kick streamers for that matter, should never step foot in a wrestling ring. Period. No training, no respect, no spot in the business. This whole situation is unlike anything I've seen in years on the independent scene, and I hope everyone learns from this, because what happened last night was absolutely disgusting. I hope Stu makes a full recovery. I hope Roger faces real justice and is banned from streaming altogether. And I hope something like this never happens again, because this wasn't just a bad moment for one company, this was a black eye on independent wrestling as a whole. If you found this breakdown informative, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update on stories like this. Wrestling is full of drama, surprises, and sometimes chaos. Until next time, stay safe, respect the business, and I'll catch you in the next one.